Okay, YouTube, we are going to wrap up today. We're talking about great devotional classics. We're going to finish up with this one here. This beautiful blue goatskin bound edition right here is the Westminster Confession of Faith with the larger and shorter catechism. Now, right off the bat, I should tell you, don't get excited because you can't get this one on Amazon. I bound this one myself with the blue goatskin. I added the ribbons and I added the ribs on the spine. So you're not going to be able to buy something like this. However, I will say that this edition, which is published by the PCA in conjunction with the OPC, this edition is excellent. It has beautiful paper, it is a sewn binding, and it is very, very well done. So this is the one to get. So I am going to put the Amazon link, and you can get this. It's just going to be in cloth-bound hardback, not the goatskin. Okay, now to the content. The Westminster Confession of Faith is the standard doctrinal position of Presbyterian and Reformed churches going back to the 1640s. It is a document, several actually, that were written by the Puritan divines in Westminster Abbey, thus the name, between 1643 and 1648, if I'm not mistaken. 1646/7 is the finishing up of the confession, but that's enough history. It contains 3 parts, and we're going to look briefly at each one. The main confession consists of 33 chapters of doctrine, and we're going to read as an example this one right here, chapter 2 of God and the Holy Trinity. So if you were to ask, what is God? Here is the answer. There is but one only, living and true God, who is infinite in being and perfection, a most pure spirit, invisible, without body, parts, or passions, immutable, immense, eternal, incomprehensible, almighty, most wise, most holy, most free, most absolute, working all things according to the counsel of his own immutable and most righteous will, for his own glory, most loving, gracious, merciful, long-suffering, abundant in goodness and truth, forgiving iniquity, transgression, and sin, the rewarder of them that diligently seek him, and withal most just and terrible in his judgments, hating all sin, and who will by no means clear the guilty. Well, that's just part of this particular chapter. And in the main body, you're going to get chapters on Scripture, God, Christ, the covenants, sin, election, predestination, justification, sanctification, the church, the sacraments, and so on and so forth. 33 chapters. And I want you to notice in this edition, one of the reasons I commend it is because of all of the references, the proof texts. This is the confession right here, but all of this on every page is the proof text. You say, well, doctrine isn't biblical. Of course doctrine is biblical. Doctrine is the summary of Bible teaching. And that's all that the Westminster Confession of Faith is very faithfully, exegetically sound definitions on doctrinal topics in confessional format. Okay, so that's the main confession. Let's jump ahead to the larger catechism. Now, the catechisms are designed for instruction, personal instruction, ecclesiastical instruction, and the catechisms are in question and answer format, and you get a question followed by an answer. We're going to look at this one here in the larger catechism. What is justification? Have you ever wondered? Have you ever wondered what Paul means by justified in Romans and Galatians and those books? Well, here's a great answer in definition form. Justification is an act of God's free grace unto sinners, in which he pardoneth all their sins, accepteth and accounteth their persons righteous in his sight, not for anything wrought in them or done by them, but only for the perfect obedience and full satisfaction of Christ by God, imputed to them and received by faith alone. Well, there's your definition of justification. And once again, we have tons and tons of footnotes, references here. This edition is in the King James, which would have been the translation that the divines were working through at that time in the 1640s. And I continue to be impressed with the depth and the profundity of the larger catechism, which has traditionally been used for preaching on the Lord's Day evening in Reformed churches, and also for the training and instruction of ministers, and for adult communicants. Now, let's jump ahead to the third document contained in the same book, and that would be the Westminster Shorter Catechism, probably the most famous of the three documents, if for no other reason than it has this question, number one: what is the chief end of man? And the answer is, man's chief end is to glorify God and to enjoy Him forever. Isn't that beautiful? So profound, so deep. You could meditate on that for the rest of your life if you really want to. All of the questions and answers in the Shorter Catechism are obviously shorter. Interesting, right? You probably could have figured that out. What do the Scriptures principally teach? The Scriptures principally teach what man is to believe concerning God and what duty God requires of man. The Shorter Catechism has traditionally been used for confirmation classes, for family worship, especially with small children, and for the use in the home. And once again, I'm just going to point this out. Look at the massive volume of references and footnotes quoted for every single answer in the Catechism. So clearly, nobody can ever tell me that doctrine is not thoroughly steeped in Bible. It is bibline. Its blood runs bibline, as Spurgeon used to say. Okay, so there's your summary of the Reformed devotional classics, the Confession of Faith, Spurgeon's Morning and Evening, and the Valley of Vision. As always, I will post the links on Amazon so that you can get them. They are in the description of this video, as always. Thank you so much for subscribing. It'd be really cool if you do that, and share if you like the stuff. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Argue in the comments, whatever you want to do. I love you lots, and I'll see you soon. Have a good day.